Good evening. This is Storytime and More with Starry Blue. And this is for Mr. Ghost Stories, I think. It's August the 26th today. And 2019, and it's plus 16 degrees Celsius outside, and 20 after 8 p.m. So good evening. They say that death comes in threes. When I was 4 years old, the day before Thanksgiving, my dad's eldest sister, who was the postmistress in town and more beautiful than Elizabeth Taylor, had been over for a visit. When she left, she forgot her glasses. Either my mom or my dad had put them on our dryer, which was new, by the way. The next day, the dryer started buzzing as if a load of laundry had been just dried, but there were no clothes in there. The buzzer wouldn't shut off. They unplugged the dryer. They had an electronics guy and an electrician in, and it just wouldn't stop. It was really ruining Thanksgiving. It was loud. My aunt had a few days off, so she was at home cooking a supper for her new husband, number 4, I believe. She'd been widowed 3 times before that. And with all the buzzing of the dryer and everything going on, people came running to our family business, as our home was in our family business. And they called my dad and they said, "It's your sister." My dad threw me over his shoulders and we went running to her house, which was beside the post office. It was so ablaze. She was in there. We could hear her screaming. The men were holding my dad back from running in to save her. And we had to stay there and watch. And in Canada, of course, Thanksgiving is October. It was a fairly warm October. But eventually, they pulled a body bag out and they had my dad and I identify her charred remains. It was devastating. Then, at Easter, my grandmother passed away. My dad's mother. And I felt so much guilt because a week earlier I wanted to go to my other grandmother's where all the kids were playing. And I hadn't stayed with her, and I wish I would have. When my dad tried to tell me the story about her being in heaven and being able to see everything I do, and that if she was sad for me, her tears would be rain, all that kind of stuff people tell their children that are only like 4 years old still, as my birthday is in August. And it was a really bad time. Then a week later, my great aunt, my mom's favorite aunt, came down for a visit. I didn't care for her too much. She was kind of bossy and whatnot, like the French usually are. Not calling the French down or anything. I'm French, but, well, French and Austrian. But, I thought I would get to sleep on the sofa or the floor and watch some TV or something, because I only had a couple of more days before I had to go back to the private school, an all-girls Roman Catholic school in a remote location. My mom made me sleep with my aunt in my bed because my great aunt didn't have enough of her medicinal brandy to feel comfortable sleeping in a house that was in a business. And she just seemed to have kind of like a temper, but I didn't sleep much. I never did since birth. And I awoke at 5 a.m. and it was freezing in there as if it were the middle of an extremely cold winter. And she had her leg thrown over mine, and I could smell this poopy smell, and being only 4 still, I thought maybe I was the one that had the accident, but I hadn't had an accident since I was 9 months old. I was advanced in school, etc. at 4, and I went to move her leg off of me, and I couldn't. I was trapped, and I realized that the poopy smell was coming from her. And so I screamed, and she was like an ice cube. My dad came running in, and he was like, "What's going on?" And I said, "I think Mommy's auntie is dead." And sure enough, that's what it was. She died beside me in my bed. And, of course, lost all bodily functions, etc., which explained the smell. I don't know how to explain the coldness, but it was creepy. And around 7 a.m., my best friend forever still came by so that we could get as much time in together as we could before I had to go off to the all-girls Roman Catholic school in a remote area. So there are only her and I to this day that know about this incident, as my parents passed away. So, but when she'd come, there was, the ambulance, police, etc. And it was difficult, very, very difficult. I couldn't sleep in bed, and 9 years or so later, when I finally did start sleeping in the bed again, it was a new bed, and the room was completely redone, but I started having dreams of my postmistress Auntie's face, my paternal grandmother's face, and my mom's great auntie's face, just swirling around, just their faces, as if they were trying to warn me about something. And I could see their lips moving, but I couldn't hear. It was horrible, and went on for quite some time. And anytime anybody that we knew was going to pass away, the dryer would do the same thing all over again. Got married, moved away, moved back, had 2 children. My mom and dad gave me the old dryer because we didn't have one. And it started happening all over again. But that's for another time. All I can say was this was extraordinarily creepy. No one wants to wake up next to a dead body, never mind a 4-year-old. I hope that you find this story useful, and thank you for listening. Have a nice evening. Ciao for now.